everyone, this is Yael from Yael Alchemy, and I'm here with the weekly message of the Divine Feminine to her beloved for the week of July 31st to August 7. Okay, and we're smack in the middle of the Lionsgate portal, which opened on July 26th, and that's going to close on August 12th. But the climax is on August 8th, okay? So anyway, more about that in my Twin Flame weekly reading. So if you haven't watched that, please do check it out. And so as always, I've already prayed over the cards and shuffled them. And at the bottom of the deck, we have... but this would represent the general energy of the reading. We have first here the Ace of Spiral, and this is a very intense energy. Here we have a crying. This is represented by the ram. Okay, but you see this ram is crying, and we'll see what that's about. But the feathers in the head of the ram represent it's like a spiritual regeneration. Okay, and there is this bittersweet energy that comes with this. And what I'm getting is that because, you know, there are things that are true that you cannot unknow. And sometimes this causes sadness when you realize it. But that's part and parcel of walking in divine light. You walk the path of truth. And so this is the beginning, okay? Because here we have the Seven of Mirrors, and this signifies discernment. Here we have the Lady of Shalott, and she's weaving these threads of destiny here. She's in a room which has 7 mirrors. Some of them are cracked. So this lady feels that the outside world is reflected in these mirrors, but those are just illusions. And yet, since that is her, that is the place wherein she's at, she has to reconcile that. Because she's weaving her own thread of destiny here. Her own cloth of destiny here. Okay? So this signifies much discernment is needed. And here we have the Seven of Stones. And we have this lady here. She has a name. I forget what. Anyway, she's here by the stone arch. And as you can see, she feels very disappointed. Her head is cast down, and there's this energy of melancholy surrounding this card, with regret and past disappointments. But she's letting all of these wash down the river, because she knows that there's something new coming. Okay, here we have the Four of Spirals, which is a cottage in the middle of the woods, and this signifies solitude. And if you can see the broom here, cleaning house. So introspection and solitude. Okay, and here we have the Pilgrim. So this indicates this is a sojourner, so he's on a journey. Carries with him, he travels, well, sort of light. But you can see here that this pilgrim is wearing a skirt with the color violet, and the coat that this pilgrim is wearing is in the colors of unconditional love, which is this kind of pink. So on this path, look at this. This is sort of a bittersweet beginning, because it's a beginning walking in truth, although those truths can be hurtful, can be painful, wherein discernment must be used, because you have to separate illusion from the truth. You get to choose which one you'd like to weave into your your own personal destinies. And here, the feeling of regret being washed away, coupled with the solitude, so that you may better take on this part of your journey. Okay, so now let's see what message the Divine Feminine has for her beloved this week. The first card we have is the Storyteller, and this is the Hermit. And we can see here that while this Hermit, the Storyteller, is alone in the woods, because you know this is solitude, she's gained wisdom, and as you can see here from this mystical orb that she's holding, and the Orioles, actually here you can see two Orioles in her head. They represent her shape-shifting abilities. So because she's a storyteller and she has shape-shifting abilities, this is being flexible, being able to adapt given the epiphanies that you've had. Okay, the next card that we have is the Visionary, and the Visionary represents, this Visionary is part of the troupe, okay, the troupe of all the court cards here, and he's the healer of this troupe, and that's why he's very transformational. It's a transformational energy. He reconciles opposing thoughts or conflict that exists. He heals it. Okay? The next card that we have is the Sorceress. So we have another major card here. And the Sorceress here, this is Morgan Le Fay. And she uses her magical powers to access other dimensions, other worlds, and she uses her magic for that transformative energy. Okay, and of course, since she's able to access that that certain kind of energy and use magic to cast spells, this is also using your willpower combined with the messages that you receive from above, from your higher self, from your spiritual team, in order to transform a certain situation and to create magic. And the next card that we have is the Lover's card. And the Lover's card, of course, pertains, because we see here this couple is getting married in the forest, and in attendance you see all the animals in the forest, domesticated and not, and surrounding this couple and just rejoicing for this event wherein they come into union. And the last card that we have is the Justice card. Okay, and the Justice card implies being in balance. This is righting things that are wrong and coming back into balance. You see here we have butterflies, which is a transformation from just a caterpillar to being a butterfly. Okay, so what do we have here? You see here the Sorcerer's card. She's sort of the one, because she represents the High Priestess. She's sort of the gatekeeper between what is seen and what is unseen. And from these cards, look here. Here we have the Hermit and the Knight of Scrolls. And the Hermit, this indicates the Divine Feminine is telling her beloved that yes, she has been feeling sort of left out, feeling alone and unattended to. Okay, sort of like the Divine Masculine has forgotten all about her. This is in 3D though, and that's why we have here the Visionary, which is what the Divine Feminines are doing, is that they're visualizing already what could happen in order to heal this situation of being alone. Okay, because this feeling left out, left behind, or just ignored, that's being healed by this visionary looking towards the future. And while this is the situation of the divine feminines, at least some of you, we see here the entrance of this energy of the high priestess, which really shows you what is going on behind the veil that still hasn't, it's still not, think of it as a play, and if you're one of the cast of characters in the play, if it's not your cue to enter stage right or stage left, you have to stay behind the curtain. You cannot even peek. Okay, you can't even peek through the curtains to look at the audience, because a rule of thumb if you're doing theater is that if you can see the audience can see you. So that curtain is closed if there are other characters out on stage, and you just step out on stage if it's your cue. So you listen to your cue and you step out. And so this sorcerer's card, that's what this is saying, because this is what is behind the veil. Look at this. We have the divine feminines trying desperately to heal her aloneness, okay, her solitude. That although she has gained wisdom from it, it still doesn't detract, because there's this healing card that came up. Okay? And what is being shown here is that behind the veil, even if this is what exists, remember here, look at this, look at all these cards. Okay? See here, we have a crying ram, bittersweet, and somebody who has to choose whether it's illusion she's seeing or if it's reality. And there's regret there, disappointment at the, this is not necessarily solitude, but being alienated. Yes, that's a word I was looking for. Being alienated. And yet there's this desire to transform all these feelings. Okay? And that is why the visionary is there. And here we have the sorceress showing us what's behind that curtain. What's behind that veil. What, it's like these are the actors that are ready to come on stage, but it's not that yet their cue. Okay? Because here we have the Lover's card. Reminding the high priestess, the sorcerer, reminding us of this union that is already set to come on stage, but it's not yet their cue. Well, at least for some of you. So, and this is balance, justice. It's balancing these two, okay? These two sides that are separated by the high priestess there. Okay, so do you get what I'm saying? I hope so. Let's pick clarifying cards very quickly for these. So it appears that the divine feminine, because last week, you know, there are a lot of divine feminines who chose to simply give up the twin flame path, but it looks like a lot are also reconsidering, because really you cannot give up the path. I mean, being a twin flame, it's there, it's in it. Okay, so anyway, here for the storyteller, the Hermit card. See, this is inconstance, vacillation. Okay, other times you find wisdom in your solitude, other times you don't. That's why there are Orioles here. Keep on shape-shifting. Can't decide which shape you want to take, which form you want to take. Do you want to be a twin flame? Do you want to be, you want to forget all about it? And for the visionary, okay, see here, trying to look forward and leaving all these, this is a dagger, you know, it represents hurt and pain, and that's why what the vision, the visionary is trying to heal, because he's the healer of the troop again. So that it's what he's doing is that he's refocusing attention, instead of on all these hurtful things, these feelings that the Divine Feminine feels, the Divine Feminine trying to focus her attention on better things, things that don't cause her pain. And for the High Priestess, the Sorceress, look at this. Because this is networking, this is social networking, and the Sorceress here, the High Priestess, this would pertain to, you know, other Divine Feminines out there, or even awakened Divine Masculines who are helping you understand this this sort of gateway, the energies of being a High Priestess and being the sort of being at the border of two dimensions, okay? And the High Priestess energy can be accessed by this people in your network, whether other twins, whether it's other readers, healers on YouTube or anywhere else. See, so that's how you access that energy in order to come to this for the Lover's card. See, again, this is treachery rather, because what this says is you don't see it coming. You're not seeing it. You're not seeing that there is already union. Okay? For the Justice card, see, this is beauty in all things once everything comes into balance. Because you will see the hierarchy of things, how things had to progress from this stem to the bloom, to the heart, to the crown. It grows, and that's how everything comes into balance. It goes full circle. Okay, so that's what the Divine Feminine is telling her beloved, that her struggle from all these, okay, discernment, illusions, the regret, disappointed, the solitude, and just being alone, basically. She's trying to heal that because she's accessed this High Priestess energy from her own network, or from the network of, you know, twin flame networks, other light workers, star seeds, and that's why she understands that they are together despite being separate, and that someday this balance that is reflected internally will also reflect externally. Okay? And I think in my Twin Flame Weekly there was this theme also there. So nice message from the Divine Feminines there. At least they are, some of you are reconsidering your stance to just forget all about it. Because you can't forget, you've already remembered. You can't unknow what you already know. And we all know that it's been quite a journey to this knowing, okay? So cherish that and value that, because the divine blueprint dictates that it should happen that way, and there's a purpose for it happening that way. Okay, so anyway, that's what I have for you this week. And since we are accessing all these energies that are being given down in the form of new light codes and evolutionary templates, and this will be better received by those who are clear and who are ready to receive. Okay, so if you need help or assistance in clearing your chakras, clearing yourself, walking in divine light, please do consider a RASHEEBA session this week, especially the advanced RASHEEBA. Okay, so for all those who are getting RASHEEBA sessions, I am going to finish them all this week so that you are ready come August 8th. Okay, even if this period really extends till the total solar eclipse on the 21st. But since this is important, we're trying to keep in step with the climax of this Lionsgate portal, which will happen on August 8th. So everybody who gets RASHEEBA healings, I will do them this week before August 8th. Okay? So anyway, that's what I have for you. Here's the RASHEEBA ad. So take care, everybody. Bye.